Well, hi folks, this is Darren with My RV Works. I want to welcome you to another session of 10 Minutes with an RV Tech. Basically, the gist is people ask questions, we make videos, people ask questions, and we kind of go through those questions and try to pick and choose different ones that kind of go together, and we kind of compact them together and send them out into a little package we call 10 Minutes with a Tech. So that's what's going on here. So if you like this kind of stuff, make sure you subscribe to our channel, like it, and you'll find more of these under our playlist under 10 Minutes with a Tech. And on our website, we've got other resources for you as well. We've got a store, I make tools now, so we're making a link for that on our store site, on our website, myrvworks.com. We have merchandise you can purchase, and we also have links for Amazon affiliate links that you can buy stuff there as well, things that I've used in the field that people have asked about. So let's go jump over to the shop and see if we can't help some folks with some of their questions. Thanks for watching. Our next question is coming from Ogden, Utah, from Roger. Now, Roger's got a question involving sealant. He's like, Darren, the silicone caulking needs to be replaced on his roof and where the gutter, so you have that membrane of the roof going over. Sometimes it's squared off, sometimes it's got that J curve to it. And he would like to replace that. And his question is, should he use the ProFlex sealant, or should he use Dicor or whatever? And it's a 3-year-old RV, and he just needs to get it resealed. So here's Darren's answer on that. I'm a big fan of this. This is not silicone. I love it and I hate it. When you're working with this stuff, you need mineral spirits, not water. Silicone, I don't even stock silicone in any of my service trailer at all. I don't really use silicone at all for anything. So I'm going to be using this product here for non-roof type work. Okay, if it's vertical or horizontal, and it comes in all these different colors. This one happens to be bright white, but there's all these different colors. So this stuff is hateful. I think what I may do is do a whole video on Darren's best practices for working with this stuff. You put it on, you get about 10 seconds to work with it, and then don't touch it. Okay, whereas with silicone, you just get your hand wet with soapy water and you run it. No, not this stuff. So you have this product here. Roger's question is about a Dicor product. This one has been rolling around. I tried to find a new tube for you guys. The inside product's fine, but it's just been rolling around in a basket in my service trailer. But this is a Dicor product. And then we have Geocell. This is the same company that makes this. This is the same manufacturer, okay? And this is going to be your, the word you're looking for is EPDM. Okay, now some of you might have a TPO roof or rubberized roof, something like that. So for you, Roger, if you're going to be doing anything near that EPDM membrane, that rubber roof, then I would not use this, okay? I would use a product that is designed for EPDM. Of these two products, I've used them both. I prefer the Geocell, partly because I like the plastic tube that it's in, okay? And it, you know, they were in the same rolling around thing, and they look cool, but it doesn't matter. They're still fine. But it's just been my experience with the Dicor. After three years or so, it starts to yellow, and this one still stays white. So for no other reason other than that. So when I'm using either of these products, whether the self-leveling or the non-sag, non-self-leveling, and Ecoflex even makes one, and Vulcam makes one. If you're doing a big job, Vulcam is a really good product, but that comes in like a 29-ounce tube. These are only 16-ounce tubes. So if I'm doing a whole roof, I might go with a big Vulcam. Vulcam is a product, it's SSL 45. It comes in a couple different colors. That's what they use around swimming pools to fill in the joints and stuff like that. I bought a cargo trailer. It was a Pace cargo trailer, and they had stuff on the roof that was really rubberized, and I called them like, what is this stuff you're using? And it was like Vulcam SSL 45 or something like that, 445. Anyway. And so I use that quite a few times, but those are for bigger jobs. That's a big, giant, huge tube with a bigger sealant. But one of my best practices that I do when I use either of these two products, whether it's a leveling or non-leveling, is I'll take a wide putty knife and I'll just kind of spread it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture of a job I just did on my own little pop-up camper over here, and to show you what I'm talking about. So we'll put a picture here, up here, and just show you what I'm talking about, where when I put that on, it kind of gives it that nice finished look. Okay, so Roger, I hope that this helps with your information. This is my go-to for anything not touching the EPDM roof. And if it is touching the EPDM roof, I would go with one that's rated for EPDM, and you're looking for one that says right here EPDM, right there by my finger, right there. And this one does too, you just can't see it. And but then between the two, you have the leveling and the non-leveling, okay? So Roger, hope that helps. Thanks. Our next question is coming from Rick in Central Michigan. So hi, Rick. Now he's got a question on a Suburban water heater. It has to do with the check valves, and he's had a check valve on a water heater. He's asking how often these check valves go bad. We're going to get into that here in just a second. But he had to basically take half the water heater out of the RV just to gain access to the check valve, and because it was restricting flow to his faucets inside. So I'm going to put the question over here for Mr. Rick. So what I have here is I have the back of a Suburban water heater. Now, this is a 6-gallon. You might recognize this carcass from one that I cut open on another video. If you're interested, we'll make a link to that video where I slice one of these carcasses open, and we'll be making another video where I go in detail on some of the pieces parts. But I just want to focus on Rick's question right now. A lot of times manufacturers will put a check valve on the top part of the water heater. Cold water comes in on the bottom. Okay, it diverts down. See that little profile right there? And then it's getting all hot and everything, and then it comes out on this top one. So the top one's got this little tube there that's sucking it in from the top, okay? But a lot of times they'll put a check valve right here. Now you know that there's a check valve because there's going to be a little bit, sometimes they're brass, sometimes they're plastic, but you're going to have a little bit of an extra piece right here. If you look closely, it might have an arrow on it saying the direction of flow is only in one direction. So they want the hot water coming out of the water heater to only go out, not in. Imagine a scenario, you're taking a military type shower, you only have so much water, and you turn it on to get wet, you turn it off. Well, you don't want all that hot water to drain back through the lines back into the tank, and then you turn it back on again. You gotta wait 3 minutes for the water to heat back up. So the check valve's keeping that hot water in that line so it doesn't flow back out. Another reason they would put a check valve on here is some of you will have a bypass on the back of this. You'll know you have a bypass. You might have to remove a panel in your RV to see the back of this, but you're going to have a line here with a shutoff valve, a line here with a shutoff valve, and then a line connecting the two with a shutoff valve, okay? I know this isn't Rick's specific question, but a lot of times we'll get questions like, well, the water starts off really hot and then it just gets lukewarm. Well, in that situation, what I want you to do is I want you to gain access to the back of your water heater and see if this middle valve is open and making a blend. It's blending the hot and the cold. So you should only have either the hot and the cold open and the bypass closed, or the in-feed and the out-feed closed and the bypass open. Why would they do the bypass? Rick, I'm sorry, I'm not even getting to your question, but I get excited about this stuff. Is if you're going to do winterization of your RV, or you're going to service your water heater, it might be good to be able to bypass that. So this one takes 6 gallons, some of them take 10 gallons, some of them take 12 gallons. So if you're going to winterize your RV, well, gee, let's just bypass our water heater, drain the thing, and then bypass this, and then you only need like maybe 1 or 2 gallons of the RV antifreeze. So that's what you'll find on the back. Now, to Rick's question, these check valves do foul. And why is that? Well, you'll see this one has rusted. Go watch the other video on when we slice this thing open, and you'll get the excitement of slicing this open. This one's rusted. There's a lot of sediment in these. The Suburban water heater is supposed to have an anode rod. Your Atwood Dometic water heater is an aluminum tank, therefore an anode rod is not required. It serves no purpose. The anode rod is to protect it from rusting. Your aluminum tank's not going to rust, ergo, you don't need an anode rod. But you do need an anode rod for your Suburban. It's a metal tank, and they clad the inside with that acrylic kind of stuff. But if there's sediment in here, sometimes that sediment, which is why you're supposed to backflush your water heater every year, but sometimes that sediment can work its way into the hot output of this thing, and it will definitely fault out your check valve. What I do in a situation like that, yes, sometimes it's a real pain to get to the back of these things, but I will basically take that check valve out, and now I'm left with male threads right here. And so what I do, Darren's fix, is I like these C-Tech type fittings. I've got a male here. I didn't bring a piece of PEX. I should have brought a piece of PEX, but visualize me with this. So I put some Teflon paste on my threads, and I screw in the male connector into this fitting. This is a PEX check valve, okay? It's got an arrow on it. Let me come around and show you the arrow. Hold on. So you see that little arrow right there? It's saying the flow is going in this direction, right? Okay, so here's my male connector going on the back of my water heater, and then I have a little piece of PEX between the two, and then I have my check valve. Let me go back over here. That's their piece of PEX. This is here. Sometimes you might need to angle this with a 90, and they even make the male connectors with 90s. But this then becomes my check valve. It's a lot easier to service. They're not as expensive as a brass kind, and it serves the exact same purpose. So Rick in Central Michigan, I hope I've answered your question, and anybody listening got a little bit of an extra bonus on the water heater. So thanks for watching, and we're on to the next question. Well, folks, that's all the time we have for today for me to answer some questions. It is certainly a privilege to be able to read these questions to people asking me, and I just kind of put myself, well, what would I do if I was there? How would I approach this? And that's the best thing I could do to sew back into you folks. If you like this content, please subscribe to our channel, give us a thumb up, share it with some friends, and you could support us on Patreon. There's different tiers that you could pick from with different benefit packages for the different tiers. You could support us that way because it does take some effort to put these things together. If you need some things, some tools, on our website, you can go to our myrvworks.com website, and on our store tab you can gain access to our affiliate links from Amazon. We've even got some merchandise people have been asking about, so we've got hats and cups and t-shirts and things like that available for you with our myrvworks logo on it. And then we've also got some tools that I make, some tools. I've been doing this for a while, and I started to make some tools, and we've just kind of been making those better and better and refining them, and so now we're offering those for sale as well, and you can find that on our store link right there. So I want to thank you on behalf of everybody at myrvworks. It does take a team effort back behind us, and we want to thank you for your time. It is certainly a privilege. Happy campers say myrvworks, and we hope that you will be a happy camper. Thank you for watching.